the Autonomous University of Madrid, and also member of the steering committee of UNICA. So, Carmela, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. Indeed, Laura, it's such a pleasure to be in this morning with you, introducing this wonderful webinar about how European university alliances are facing this big challenge of the well-being that we as humans are wanting for us and for our citizens in our communities for the future. So I think it's a great idea to have this joint initiative with UNICA and Semmelweis University in this week of EUniWell alliance about the well-being at universities. And just let me tell you that UNICA is an institutional network of universities, as Laura said, from the capitals of Europe. It was born in 1990, and currently we have over 50 universities from 37 capitals cities of Europe. We are combining over 180,000 university staff and 2 million students. And I think that even over 50% of our universities belong now to European university alliances. That, as you know, it's this fantastic initiative from the European Commission. It gives the universities a lot of work, but I think a very inspiring initiative and really a very good way of interacting and strengthening actually higher education in Europe. I was myself involved in the birth of one of these alliances when I was vice rector for internationalization in the Universidad Autónoma de Madrid, and I can tell you that that has been really a challenge, but a very interesting work to do for our universities and our communities. So let me also introduce the speakers today, and of course the co-organizer of this event, Professor Miklós Kellermayer from the Semmelweis University. He's Dean of the Faculty of Medicine. Myself, I'm also a professor in the Faculty of Medicine in my university. And he is the EUniWell project leader. I was at the time also project leader of my European University Alliance CIVIS. So I'm very, very glad to give the floor to him that will introduce us a bit to this event among the big event of EUniWell, and we'll give the keynote speech that I think that you should start whenever you wish, Miklós, that he will tell us about urbanity and infrastructure development at Semmelweis University. So the floor is yours, Miklós. Thank you very much for organizing this with UNICA.
Thank you very much, Carmela. It is my utmost pleasure and privilege to be here and deliver a presentation in this session, which is part of the FestiWell series within the UniWell consortium and within the UniWell program. In my presentation, I would like to briefly introduce the UniWell concept and how it's related to European agenda, and particularly strategic development goals. Then I'd like to focus a little bit on and introduce to all of you, Semmelweis University, how we relate to participation within this program. And then relating to the title of my presentation, Urbanity, which is actually one of the focal points of the strategic development goals, and how an inner city university and one of the capitals of Europe is handling this issue with many of its challenges. So if you allow me, let me start my presentation and share my screen. Okay. Can you give me a feedback? Can you see my presentation?
We can indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So once again, I'd like to focus on urbanity and infrastructure development as part of the UniWell program, and particularly it's one of its strategic development goals at Semmelweis University. To give you a brief account of what UniWell is about, let me highlight our vision and mission. So the vision that we charted and the mission program that we articulated is that we can work together and in a cooperative manner on individual, societal, and environmental levels of well-being, and which is a synergistic objective. The core concept is the multidimensionality of well-being, because it ranges from the level of the individual up to our local communities, then to our city communities and national communities, and then to regional communities and levels, and all the way up to the European level, and not to mention the global level as well, or if you wish, even the planetary level. So we need to address a few dimensions that I want to mention and focus on: health, education, citizenship, rights and responsibilities, entrepreneurship, the environmental problems, and internationalization, which precipitates in multilingualism and multiculturalism. And to Semmelweis University, health is of prime importance, as you will see, because we are one of the specialized universities within this network, focusing on medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, and other health-related programs. So UniWell aims at delivering a holistic approach to the well-being concept and to address many of its facets. So the importance is that we want to focus on our aims are actually related and connected to many of the focal points of international organizations, such as the United Nations, the OECD, and the European Union. So in particular, which I mentioned already, we are relating to our aims and co-align them with the sustainable development goals identified by the United Nations, and which are highly supported currently by the European Union. So, as according to the Council of EU, well-being is a principal aim of the European Union, which is important for people, societies, and the entire planet. And it promotes a horizontal approach based on cross-sectoral collaboration. So this is exactly the cooperative effort that is embodied by the UniWell, which is a consortium of 7 prime universities across Europe. So just to relate to some of the SDGs or the strategic development goals, and I need to mention to you that the 7 universities, which I will briefly talk about, which you can, by the way, see as listed here on the right side of the slide, we have been addressing in our publications the strategic development goals. This chart actually marks the weight at which and the progress by which these strategic development goals are addressed in publications. So this is kind of like the number, the ratio of the publications, which in one way or the other highlight or address some of the problems related to these strategic development goals. So we are strong in research. So we actually we allocate our resources to research in these strategic areas. And there are certain SDGs in which we think UniWell is particularly strong and efficient. Here you can see in the bottom some of these. We are directly related to 4 strategic development goals: good health and well-being, even the name is similar, the quality of education increase. We want to deliver a quality education to widespread population of Europe, and sustainable cities, which is very strongly related to today's particular topic, sustainability in healthcare and urbanity. So city development is of prime importance. And then finally, peace, justice, and strong institutions. These are very important societal matters which are high on the agenda of UniWell. But in addition to these, there are certain indirectly applicable so-called cross-sectoral strategic development goals. One of them is gender equality, and the other one is the addressing of the reduced inequalities. We want to reduce the inequality which is still present in today's society at the global level, but even now with the particular challenges that we face in today's Europe, just to mention the COVID era, the migration problem, and the currently raging war at our borders. So these strategic development goals are addressed in 4 arenas, and these arenas are actually interdisciplinary sites at which we can address in a very efficient way, in a highly interacting manner, the approach to reaching these objectives. Arena 1 addresses well-being and health-related issues. Arena 2, the individual and the societal well-being. Arena 3, environment, urbanity, and well-being, which will be part of our focus today. And finally, teacher education, which we think is a key element in improving the level and the access to education. So once again, these are the arenas into which actually embody our approach to reaching the objectives highlighted and underlined in the strategic development goals. So we have an overarching mission, a long-term mission, to develop one way or the other, either virtually or in reality, a multi-campus European university which empowers our cutting-edge research, education and training, and interacts closely with society in order to enhance global and regional well-being. Second, we want to promote internal well-being for each student and member of staff, faculty members and servicing members, and each and every of our educational programs and each of the disciplinary fields and the departments. And finally, we want to break down boundaries which are prohibitory and inhibiting boundaries, which could be both internal and external. So we want to highlight and increase and enhance the permeability, mobility around our structures and our campuses and our facilities. So we have a holistic way of addressing the key and very important pillars of access to high quality education, which we think is an important element in reaching the development goals. So just to focus a little bit on and introduce the universities who are actually members within UniWell, there are 7 partner universities. We are spearheaded by University of Cologne, which is the leader of this consortium. Besides that, we have Linnaeus University, Leiden University in the Netherlands, University of Birmingham in the UK, University of Nantes in France, University of Florence in Italy, and finally Semmelweis University. As you may already notice, we are the only capital, that is Budapest is the only capital. So this Semmelweis University is the only university within this consortium which is located in a capital. So we feel a certain level of responsibility and a high level of attention regarding this, as we think we can link this consortium, the UniWell consortium, to other important consortia, just as UNICA, this is why we actually chose to make a joint presentation, a joint session together with UNICA. We have associated partner institutions. Each of the universities actually brought their network of important partners. These are usually private institutions or private enterprises. We have project participants, more than 350. We have been very active in particular working groups, particularly the student board, and we have a particular board of rectors and vice rectors. We have basically a weekly meetings together with them, and I must underline and underscore the importance of the students' presence within our network. A very interesting aspect that we launched is the so-called seed funding mechanism, which is actually contributed by 50,000 euros by each of the participating universities, and which is channeled into a foundation or a joint fund from which we can finance small projects which are called for. The calls for these projects is announced every half year. So we have been very happy to have very interesting projects into which not only researchers and educators and instructors, but also students are drawn in. And I should underline that we have we have nearly 250,000 students embodied within this network of universities, and of course, nearly 40,000 employees. In this final note, I should mention that there's a new call which calls for the expansion of existing networks, and we are very open to do so. And University of Murcia already joined us, so we have a Spanish university which has joined UniWell already just a few weeks ago, in fact. So we look forward very much to a fruitful and promising collaboration, cooperation with Murcia. But I should also mention that now with this raging war between Ukraine and Russia, we are turning our attention and are helpful hands towards Ukraine, who suffers under this war, and important negotiations have been already started between our consortium and the University of Kiev, and we are very open to delegate Kiev University into a partnership with UniWell. And finally, it's not only the Erasmus program or fund that actually finances our UniWell program, but we did manage in the recent past to apply for a research-targeted grant support by the H2020 program, and this program focuses more on the research and the science aspects related to well-being. We are developing research skill taxonomy, and we want to establish a fair strategy for open science. And indeed, this open science tactic and strategy is what is very important for us. We want to be able to deliver the access to high quality science through our network. Then, having introduced the UniWell consortium, let me briefly introduce to all of you Semmelweis University. Semmelweis University is the leading institution of higher education in Hungary, and not only in Hungary, but the importance and significance of our university stretches beyond our borders, and we can claim a Central European regional significance as well, particularly in medicine and health sciences. We are committed to three main strategic tasks. First one is education and training. Second is high quality research, and then healing, that is healthcare provision. We are very prominent in Hungary, which is underlined by the mere numbers. And more than 40% of the Hungary's physicians are trained or have received their diplomas at Semmelweis University. 70% of our dentists in Hungary, 50% of the pharmacists, and almost 1/3 of the healthcare professionals are graduates of our university. We are a highly international community, we offer most of our training programs in 3 languages, independently, but in a very congruent structure: Hungarian, English, and German. As a matter of fact, our international training program started 40 years ago. The next school year, which starts in September, will be in the honor of celebrating the 40th anniversary of launching our international program. And the international students actually, there has been a very strong development to reach high numbers, representation of international students, and it reaches almost 1/3 of our student body, which actually currently is at around, or actually exceeding 11,000. And finally, we are the largest healthcare providers in Hungary with our clinical network, and at our clinics, in addition to the practice-oriented training, we provide the highest quality patient care. So some further facts and numbers. We are proud to be the oldest continuously operating medical training institution in Hungary, which was established 253 years ago by Queen Maria Theresa, and our university has been named one of the most international universities by the Times Higher Education ranking system, and our international students arrive from more than 70 countries now, and globally. Actually, we cover all the 5 continents. And this is particularly strong in the field of medical training, which the faculty of which I'm the dean of, and more than half of the students of our medical student body are actually international students, including German and English program students. Here are a few numbers about our staff and faculty, and just to underline the high quality of the academic staff and academic faculty. Many of us are doctors of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, and some are members of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. Nearly a dozen members we have. And furthermore, we actually are very strong in developing and maintaining truly the highest quality and most prominent and advanced medical and research technologies. Just a few weeks ago, we installed the first photon counting computed tomograph in Europe. And in Hungary, we established about 10 years ago the first in vivo preclinical imaging center. And well, linking to Urbanity, Semmelweis University campus hosts or houses one of the tallest high-rises of Hungary with its 22 stories. This is a picture of this high-rise. It's not really beautiful. It was built during the socialist Hungary or communist Hungary with its socialistic style. But nevertheless, we are proud to use it, and it's very strongly employed and plays an important role in the training and research on our campus. Now, just finally, just to wrap up this introduction about just some factual information, we are the top-ranked university in Hungary, by the way, and which is very remarkable, considering that we are not the traditional many faculty university, but we are focused on medicine and healthcare. So just recently, about half a year ago, we advanced very much in the Times Higher Education ranking system. We jumped almost 150 places to within the top 300 universities. We are currently at about 277th place. But in some particular targeted areas, we are even better. We are top 10 in the category of good health and well-being, which is very much related to UniWell. And within the cardiovascular medicine, we are at the 55th level, so which we are very proud of. Now, turning our attention to our links to Urbanity and campus development, here are some quotations and excerpts from our strategic goals. We want to become sustain the ability to be the prime biomedical universities in Central Europe. Now, this will entail the increase, like a 50% increase in the number of students, and in particularly the percentage of foreign language students. This will entail the increase in the number, or the development of the number of qualified lecturers. But furthermore, it will also require campus development. Obviously, we must be able to place our students in a suitable campus. So there is a Medicampus and dormitory projects are going on, which are very strong. And I want to then highlight some of these issues which are related to our campus development. So Semmelweis University and its relation to the capital of Hungary, that is Budapest, is a very interesting one. We are scattered. Our campus is scattered throughout. Unfortunately, Semmelweis University does not have a concise and focused campus. As you can see, this is the Danube running from north to south here, and this is, I mean, this map shows almost entire Budapest. And although we have some of our facilities are gathered on the Pest side, but we have a Buda campus, but I wouldn't even be able to call it a campus. But as you can see, some of our facilities are scattered throughout the city. There's an anecdote that which goes the following way, that you know, our medical training runs for 6 years, but it is sad that I was told that a Semmelweis medical student, even though he or she attends and studies for 6 years, he goes, the net time spent in studying is only 5 years, because 1 year is spent by traveling. So this is a pretty sad situation, and this traveling requires getting around the different sites of the campus. So we desire, and we would really like to bring our campus to a focal point. And in the final couple of slides, I just want to highlight this attitude. And just recently, we launched our flagship project, which is focusing on the building of a new basic biomedical building, which is just next door to where I'm sitting at the moment, just across the street. But this is an inner city campus building with its own challenges. So just a few photographs of this. This is the facade and the entry point of this new building. And inside there's a huge aula with friendly spaces for students. This is the huge auditorium, which is separable by walls. This is just a floor plan indicating the different ways by which we can actually separate with movable walls this beautiful large auditorium, even so that we can delegate this room to gala dinners, or even to concerts. We can transform it into a concert hall. Here is the piano and whatever, the orchestra, which we have, by the way, we have a very nice medical student orchestra. So the aim here is to have a hub for the students where they feel well and which they feel home. And in this slide, I just want to give you an overview with this video, the plans. This is in the planning phase, and which very much hope that just within a year and a half, we might be able to complete this. This is one of our buildings, by the way, here. So finally, I just want to end by drawing some conclusions and about the lessons that we have learned being an inner city campus university, and about the planning of this new facility and new building, a new campus. So we want to focus on students, academic, faculty and staff in this order. So students are number one. Internationalization. Our student body, which is very strong in international students, and we want to make this center welcoming to this international student body. And we have definite plans to make it an international teaching and examination center into the ECFMG program, which is the American style examination and residence training program. Well-being does matter. So we have front desk services, learning hubs, and very important conveniences inside this campus building. Environmental issues and sustainability. So this is an energy efficient building. We have very strong e-transportation. There will be charging sites and so forth in the garage and so forth. And of course, this is a economically sustainable building that we want to achieve. And finally, urbanity concept. This, we already see that whatever development Semmelweis University does has very important impact in the local city government and local city environment. Local businesses are just erupting around campus, which include, housing businesses, restaurant businesses, and all kinds of service facilities. So we look very much forward to these challenges, and I think we will be able to tackle them. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miklós, with this beautiful view of this fantastic building. It is really the taste of what well-being within a university means. So let's keep going this session, and starting this short presentations from three speakers. We start by Professor Grzegorz Kula from the University of Warsaw. Is Chair of Political Economy in the Faculty of Economic Sciences, and he will be telling us about the 4EU+ Alliance and well-being in modern cities. Please, Grzegorz, whenever you are ready.
Thank you very much. Let me turn the presentation on and share the screen with you. I guess okay, I think I need to change it because, wait. Okay, yes, now it should work.
Yes, you're not in the presentation mode. Yeah, perfect.
Yes, exactly. Okay. That's the whole
you have 10 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So after this very interesting presentation on Semmelweis University, I must admit I won't be able to show you Warsaw University, and I won't enter into so many details about organizations. Nevertheless, let me tell you a few words about 4EU+ Alliance. So these are 6 European universities, this time 4 capitals, right? Prague, Paris, Copenhagen, and Warsaw. And we also have University of Milan and University of Heidelberg. And we are all together because we want to fulfill our vision, how Europe should work, how European universities should work, right? And we try to basically take our part in creation of Europe, of joining our countries, of deepening cooperation, and of enriching everybody in the Union. Now, I won't, because there is not much time, I will not discuss the details of our organization, but let me just tell you that we are divided in 4 flagships. We have flagship 1 on health and demographic change in an urban environment, and we have flagship 4 on biodiversity and sustainable development. And since these are 2 flagships which are connected to current topic of our meeting, I'll discuss them in details in a moment. But we have also other 2 flagships And I would just like to say a few words about them. Europe in the Changing World, Understanding and Engaging Societies, Economies, Cultures, and Languages, which is basically about the governance and regulatory aspects of Europeanness. And there is, of course, a problem how you define it. And second issue is question of languages and self-identification in Europe. We think that there is a lot of value in multilingualism, and that's something we are working on. And flagship 3, Transforming Science and Society, Advancing Information, Computation, and Communication. These are all those computer guys who are always saying to us that they can give us so much information about ourselves, right? Big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and we are applying those tools in all the possible fields, from humanities to natural sciences. Now, I said that flagship 1, flagship 4 are connected to the topic of today's meeting, but actually this issue of sustainable development, of development in general, is present in all the flagships, in many things that we are doing, even in this technical analysis. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, we are applying these tools in so many fields that we also apply to sustainable development, to well-being. We want to use these tools to improve the well-being. Now, flagship 1, Health and Demographic Change in Urban Development, is mostly connected with well-being in the cities. We noticed that with ongoing urbanization and such a huge percentage of people living in cities nowadays from all around the world, this is not a European trend only, as you know, we should focus on well-being problem, on sustainable development goals of United Nations, and we should work on issues like aging population, healthcare, and increasing urban density. They are all connected, and they're, in our opinion, the most important problems that we have to face if we want to improve well-being in cities. One of those important aspects is to active and productive life of aging citizens, because with shrinking populations, that's our only choice. And if we improve well-being in cities, they will be able to be active longer. We are also discussing public health issues, and basically in flagship 1, because I'm involved in flagship 1 as one of the coordinators, we are basically focusing on 2 different aspects, cities and health. And we have very technical programs concerning health. I'm not an expert in health, so I cannot really give you many details, right? But we are also trying to connect those 2 issues. And one of the activities I'll describe in a moment exactly connects well-being and health. Now, flagship 4, biodiversity and sustainable development, is clearly about biology and ecology, right? And it's not so much about cities as a particular topic, but it's about analysis of what's going on in the environment, therefore covering also cities. We are building multidisciplinary environment for students. We are sharing our expertise, teaching, research, experts' opinions from outside of universities. We are developing infrastructure, courses, special study programs, summer schools. We are investing in equipment to better study those problems. And we want to contribute to environmental education of society. We want to, involving students, we want to suggest solutions to many complex, very complex environmental problems, joining together society, economy, and environment. And of course, in this way improving our well-being. This is very general thing, right? And as you see, it's like underlying theme of all our activities. But to be more precise, I wanted to show you two particular activities, two study programs, or two courses actually. One is from flagship 4, the one that I was discussing a moment ago about biodiversity and sustainable development. And this is a course on innovation and entrepreneurship for sustainability. This is an open course, collaborative university course on social entrepreneurship and impact of investing. And this is actually, this started from accelerating investment readiness MOOC program. You have a link here. This presentation, I guess, will be available. So if any of you is interested, you can take a look. You have also a link here under the title if you want to go to the course website. And the focus here is on how entrepreneurs address sustainability challenges. I think that's very important aspect, because nowadays in all the business models, that's an aspect we have to include. It's not only about profits, making money. It's also about sustainable development and increasing our well-being. Second course that I wanted to discuss is Urban Health Case Challenge. This is from flagship 1, and this is actually the one in which I'm involved. And this is not a real course. This is a challenge. So it's teams of students from different universities, not only the 6 universities of the Alliance, but each year we are inviting some universities with which we are cooperating, take part in kind of a competition in which they are solving a challenge. Last year, in last challenge, it was mental health in urban spaces. Students were developing best solutions to the real world issue. They have few days for this, but first they have a number of online lectures introducing the problem, discussing different aspects of this, and then after they have this background knowledge, the challenge is revealed. This time they were working on improving mental health and well-being in particular part of the city of Mannheim. But they were supposed to do this in such a way that solutions they present should be applicable to all the cities. And they are working. There are students from different disciplines, different universities, different nationalities. They're preparing their solutions, and then with help of some experts, and then they present those solutions in a pitching session in front of an expert jury. And jury is choosing the best solution. And this solution, that was the prize, was to be applied in practice. The city of Mannheim promised that they will sit down with students and they will work on implementing this solution. So students see the real impact of what they are going on. They are trying to improve well-being, not only in theory, not only for fun or for good grades, but also to change something in real life. And my 10 minutes are over. So I think that I will stop here. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you want to check details of what I was talking about, as I said, there are links in the presentation which you can use, or just ask me and I will send you the links. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gregor. You kept the time. It's very interesting because it's just these ideas that we should focus on for further discussion, and I hope we will get the time to do. So let's go to the next talk, please. I give the floor to Stinne Vognæs, that will talk about rethinking expertise, co-creating inclusive communities with students. She's from the University of Helsinki, and she's the project of and coordinator of UnaEuropa. Please, Stinne, whenever you can. Oh,
thank you so much. I'll just share my screen. Is this in presentation mode now?
Yeah,
Perfect.
we can see it.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction and for the invitation to join this panel. I'm really happy to join you today and be part of this discussion. So actually what was just mentioned about the Student Challenge is a very good bridge to what I will discuss about today. So yes, my name is Stinne Vognæs. I'm project coordinator for UnaEuropa at the University of Helsinki. And I want to share with you a project we've been running that is actually still ongoing called Una Together, where we are co-creating solutions for more inclusive academic communities together with our students. First, a few words, I'll keep this very short, about UnaEuropa. We are a European University Alliance, as you probably have guessed as well. We have 11 partners. We just got 3 new partners during this spring, so that has been very exciting, growing rapidly to hopefully increase our impact in the coming 4 years as well. And so for this project, it was our 8 sort of original partners who were part of this challenge. So that's why you will hear about 8 universities and not 11. But we are an alliance of research-intensive universities with long histories. We always say we've been educating Europe for 1,000 years. And we have a student body of more than 500,000 students. So extensive network of universities, and really trying to bridge universities, research and education, and provide research-based education to our students as well. So quite a diverse and extensive alliance that UnaEuropa is. But yes, Una Together, I'll try to keep this brief so we can get to the discussion, which I think is the really exciting part. But Una Together is the 3rd iteration of what we call the Una Challenge here in UnaEuropa. So there has been 2 before this, and it's hosted by a different university each year. So the first one was hosted by Alma Mater Bologna, and it was about sort of the pandemic and the challenges that provided, and the students were working in teams to solve challenges related to that. Last year, it was Jagiellonian University in Krakow hosting Una Futura about digitalization and those challenges. And this year, it's Una Together, hosted by us here at the University of Helsinki, related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So the idea generally of this concept of the Una Challenge is really to allow students to handle real world problems and to work together in interdisciplinary and international teams to solve these real challenges. And we're using tools such as design thinking, rapid prototyping, the double diamond, and other tools like this that many of our students at least are not used to working with in their normal classes. And they're quite excited to get this chance to work with issues hands-on and to create real solutions. So most of you might be familiar with the concept of hackathons and challenge-based learning, and this is kind of the ideas that we are trying to embrace in this sort of short-term program. So Una Together, as I said, is still ongoing, which I think is quite exciting. So I'll tell you a bit about the process, but I can't really tell you all the impact it has had just yet. But it has been running since early April, and it will be running until next week. And the idea is that the students come together to create these concepts that will advance diversity, equity, and inclusion within our academic communities. So I don't think I need to explain to this particular audience maybe why diversity, equity, and inclusion are also relevant for well-being, but I'll give a short summary of why we think some of these issues are very deeply connected. Students are increasingly diverse. We are opening up our universities to a broader and broader group of students of different backgrounds, different identities, different experiences, and this is something that increasingly there's a call for the students, for us to recognize, and of course also willingness for the universities ourselves to allow students to bring their full selves to campus and to the university experience as well. And we can see that in the student associations, we can see that in how students engage with classes, with teachers, and so on. And it's something we want to be better at acknowledging. There's also, of course, the acknowledgement, like in this panel, that there is a connection between the university and the surrounding society. We cannot expect students to or staff for that matter, to leave their personal identities and the rest of their lives behind whenever they're entering our campuses. We are seeing huge issues of mental health, loneliness, discrimination, burnout, exclusion, which are growing challenges for our students, unfortunately, and also staff, again, for that matter, and something that we really want to be better at acknowledging and addressing, which I think was also very well mentioned in the previous presentation. And universities should be places for students to feel well, to feel included, and to have the ability to thrive no matter their background or their identity. So the questions that we really are asking ourselves is, does everyone have equal opportunities within our universities? Do they feel that they belong and are valued as they are? And how do we really sort of not capitalize, but how do we include all these different experiences and include the students as experts in this conversation, since they are the ones having these experiences and knowing what they need? So what are we exactly doing at UNA together? Well, our approach was a strong community-based approach, which both mean that, of course, we want the students to engage bottom up, but also that we want to build community through this program. And we actually sourced our challenges from our 8-member universities to, again, ensure real-life impact, and that these solutions that the students work out actually can be implemented within our alliance and within our member universities. So we received for this program around 120 applications and selected approximately half of them and put them into 9 international interdisciplinary teams, and they have been working virtually for the past 6 weeks on these challenges. But we didn't, of course, only need students from all the universities. We also needed colleagues and staff to support us in this work. So we have had local coordinators in each university that have helped us recruit mentors who both have experience in entrepreneurship and solutions development, but also in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So both researchers, both staff, people from incubators. It's been a really amazing range of people who have supported us and supported the teams. And we also had challenge contact persons. So I will show you a couple of examples of the challenges in a minute. And we had, again, a contact person within each university who actually had specific knowledge around that challenge and was supporting the teams to understand, well, what does this mean in the context of this particular university? So we have been doing a lot to try and ensure this buy-in and ensure that this will be a long-term sustainable process. And of course, it's been amazing to see the connection of students, the teams and the staff working together, learning from each other and understanding what are the needs of students with disabilities, what are the needs of students who are not from academic families, what are the needs of students who don't have the same language abilities as majority students, and so on and so forth. So a few of the examples from some of our partner institutions. Paris-Sorbonne submitted a challenge around how to improve equality of opportunity for students who have to work to finance their studies. Here at the University of Helsinki, we are a bilingual institution with Swedish and Finnish, so we wanted to hear how to really ensure positive language spaces and seeing that diverse language skills as an opportunity and not a barrier. Freie Universität Berlin was mentioning how to recruit and support first-generation students from non-academic families, and KU Leuven posed a challenge about how to better include students with disabilities, both in campus life, socially, and also in academic context. And of course, there's even more challenges than this. So we had workshops, we have had lectures. I'm not going to get into that since we're short on time, but it's been quite a process of students to both learn about these issues from a sort of, we have had researchers give them talks around disabilities and inclusion, diversity, and we have also learned about Lean Canvas user experience and other skills like this. What has been really great so far is just to see the learning and awareness of students. So many of these students themselves actually are either international students, have migration background, are from a sexual minority or ethnic minority, and really care about these issues, but have also been learning about other sort of minority statuses that they didn't themselves have any familiar experience with. So that's been such a beautiful thing to see their learnings together. They develop a lot of empathy and connection and understanding of other experiences. And of course, there's been a lot of sharing of good practices and also gaps, and seeing how other institutions are dealing with these issues and how they can maybe bring some of that back home as well. So as I said, this is ongoing. So actually, I'm very, very happy this event is today, because our final event is tomorrow and it will be live streamed on YouTube. And you are more than welcome to join us to hear all these amazing solutions from our team. You can see we have a jury as well, and we have really tried again to get the buy-in from UnaEuropa also. So we have our General Secretary, Emily Palmer, in the jury. We have student board member Rachel Weller. We have Future UniLab, which is our sort of internal think tank, and Professor Radek Odubowski, and Think Company, which is an entrepreneurship society. We have their CEO, YUFE. So the winning team will actually get to travel to the university that posed the challenge. So for example, if the Helsinki team wins, they will come to visit us here in Helsinki and meet with our expert on linguistics and multilingualism, and hopefully we can put their solution into practice. And we're also hoping to disseminate these solutions in other ways, for example, through open educational resources or other communication sort of tools. So hopefully we can also share them with all of you if you're interested to see what these students come up with and see if it's relevant for you. But yes, thank you so much. I hope to see you tomorrow. I'll post these links in the chat if you're interested, and look forward to discussing with you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Stinne. I think we can have a discussion, because these ideas you have come with are really very inspiring. So let's go for the last talk. It's Constantinos Deltas from the University of Cyprus, that belongs to the alliance, to the consortium, to the European University YUFE, Young Universities for Education. And is the director of the Center of Excellence in Biobanking and Biomedical Research and Molecular Medicine Research Center in Cyprus. And his talk is about a biobank for promoting well-being in societies. Constantinos, welcome, and the screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for this kind invitation. I really enjoy the talks and my participation in this. Can you see my first slide?
We can. It's not in the presentation mode, though.
How about now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, excellent.
Perfect. Thank you. You have 10
Okay,
minutes.
thank you very much. Well, okay, I'm going to have to be very quick because I was asked to present a few slides on the YUFE and then my idea on the biobanking for promoting well-being in societies in order to be in line with what everybody else presented. So let me just say that YUFE, of course, is the Alliance for Young Universities for the Future of Europe. They have a very stimulating vision, I might say, to bring radical change for becoming the leading model of a young, student-centered and open European universities, very diversified, based on the, let me see if I can use the pointer. Okay, I hope you can see my pointer. This is an alliance based on the cooperation between higher education institutes and in the public and private sector, and of course citizens, with great connections and co-creation. This is one of the key words they are using for co-creating opportunities with all stakeholders. And they aim to shape future generations of Europeans into socially responsible, globally oriented citizens and lifelong learners equipped to effectively contribute to a more cohesive and inclusive European society. So this is a very nice vision, of course. This can be achieved through research and innovation, including technology transfer, flipped knowledge transfer. This is the new trend in flipped classes, for those who are aware of it. Startup spin-offs, open science, and development of new researchers, especially of the younger generation, but not only. There are 10 universities participating in this partnership, including, of course, the university that I come from, University of Cyprus. And there are another 3 associate partners. And why do we think that YUFE is different? Because students co-create and share responsibility in YUFE. They use this learning classroom where they flip the duties. Instead of learning from the teacher in the class, you learn home and then you discuss in the class. This is what they call flipped class learning approach. Of course, there is access to opportunities for non-traditional learners in Europe, assessing individual progress outside the classroom, as I said, and mentoring from professionals and entrepreneurs also beyond academia, and education aligned with local and European needs. I think this is not necessary to mention. One of the milestones or one of the pillars is the citizens' well-being, which we are discussing. And this is what I would like to show a few additional slides. as to how we approach this here at the University of Cyprus. Several years ago, the Time magazine came with this cover, 10 ideas changing the world right now. And one of the 10 ideas was biobanks, saving our parts. So I took up this message and I said, okay, there is no biobank in Cyprus. I'm almost certain you all know what biobanks are. And in your countries, there may be, of course, more than one or a few biobanks, but in Cyprus, until recently, there was no biobank. So I took the initiative to create the first biobank, and that was in 2011 that we started the first seeding of a biobank. What biobanks do? Well, they bank not money, but they bank data and material. Material and data of high quality, transparency of procedures, trust in the well-being of the samples and the data to be used in research studies, provided, of course, that you have the appropriate ethics approval. And then you can use all of this for epidemiological studies, clinical trials, genetics and pharmacogenetic studies, case control studies, prospective studies, or any studies you wish to do where you need human material and data. Basically, there are two major types of biobanks in the sense that you may have a biobank based in a hospital, and nearly all the samples and all the patients who enter the hospital, they enroll to the biobank by signing the consent form. And then you have biobanks which are not based in hospitals, and this is ours. Our biobank is not based in a hospital, but of course we collaborate with hospitals and doctors and the general public. And then in another sense, there are biobanks which are general biobanking entities, where you enroll people of the general population, healthy and diseased people. And then you may have a biobank which is based on a specific disease, cancers, heart conditions, kidney conditions, or whatever. You may have a biobank which is project-based, based on what you get funding for, and you create the registry. And then, of course, you may have a biobank which is based on the type of the material that you archive, which may be DNA or RNA or plasma serum, urine. It may be saliva, it may be hair. It depends on what specifically you're interested in working on and what kind of questions you're interested in working on. Maybe I didn't mention from the beginning that biobanks are actually infrastructures, okay? They are infrastructure entities which facilitate in a general manner, but also in a very specific and targeted manner, research studies. They operate in a horizontal manner in catalyzing and facilitating many different research studies. In our case, we are operating under an EU-funded project, 15 million euro from the European Commission, another 15 million from the Republic of Cyprus, and 8 million from the University of Cyprus. This was one of the widening participation teaming projects for creating centers of excellence in countries which are fairly weak in research. And Cyprus was and maybe still is one of the not very strong countries in research. And our partners are the Medical University of Graz, the BBMRI ERIC, which is a partnership of biobanks in many European countries, and a small SME in Cyprus, Talos Limited. I don't have time to go into details, but let me just say that for researchers who have access to biobank material, it's a very advantageous situation because it's like starting to run a marathon. Everybody's waiting for the gunshot to start running, but somebody's already 10 miles ahead. And this is because you have access to a biobank. You don't need to go start from scratch, collecting material and data and so on and so forth. You can go to an existing biobank and apply for ready-made material and data to work for your research project. So it saves you time. Every biobank is associated with very sensitive ethical, legal, and social implications. And therefore, we spend a lot of time and effort in addressing all of these challenges and ethical issues so that we make people trust in what we're doing and show confidence that the material and the data we handle, we handle them in confidentiality and under the protection of personal data. Very briefly, expected outcomes out of an operating biobank is that you discover new knowledge in biomedical sciences, you derive new conclusions based on existing data, you use material to develop basic and innovative research results, you contribute to better diagnosis, prognosis, and prevention of diseases, you contribute to discovery of biomarkers regarding disease predisposition or disease progression, enabling early intervention, and of course, you contribute to discovery of new and better medications. This is the interest you get from the banked material. Your interest and your gain is not money. Well, it could be money because in essence, everything translates to money, but it also translates to quality of life. So by investing in biobanks, we invest in a healthier Cyprus, we invest in a healthier Europe, we invest in a healthier world. Thank you very much for listening to this. As I said, this is a project funded by the European Commission under this agreement number. And my take-home message to every one of you, I hope you agree with me. We invest in biobank, we invest in a healthier world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Constantinos. That was very instructive and very informative about these important biobanks. I agree with you that they will be a step forward, as we have seen recently with some discoveries about samples from large amounts of populations that have given some ideas about some illnesses, etc. So it's a fantastic initiative in Cyprus. I imagine that for Cyprus is a great thing. So you must be famous by now.
Well, first of all, thank you for agreeing with me.
Yes.
I guess everybody who is in the biomedical sciences field can understand and appreciate the value of having access to a biobank. And I'm also certain you appreciate how difficult and challenging it is to operate and maintain a good biobank.
I imagine so. So now is the time that we can discuss a bit. If you allow me, I have been listening to you, of course, and seeing your presentations, and I see we have started by Urbanity, by finding ourselves into buildings of a university that were beautiful, but that's not the important thing. Is that we feel at ease and we feel in an environment that responds to the challenges that we have as, of course, higher education institutions, but as human beings and of this 21st century society. And we have finished with one very specific initiative, like a biobank, but that gives the opportunity to really foreseeing developments that will contribute to a very important part of the well-being, which is health. And the health that we can find or feel in that beautiful building that has been shown by Professor Kellermayer, we can find this as well as a very precise application. I have noted something that was common, maybe for the biobank, that should be really a very important point for students, for medical students, for research students to understand, is that word, students. You all have made a point in the importance of the students. And I think it's fantastic, because imagine that we have never thought in universities of the students as people that have to be aware, not only gather knowledge, be aware of the society as themselves, as part of the society in movement, society that has now put into practice to think about goals of sustainability and developing these goals. So and we are including students because they are the ones that actually have to reach those goals. So I think that has been really instructive for me and very inspiring. But what is your experience? I would try to ask, for instance, in Warsaw, for instance, about what are the response of students in the universities when they are challenged to do this. I mean, yesterday I am in an internationalization meeting of the Conference of Rectors here, and actually some of the activities that were presented, and they said, and there were students there, and they were saying that they even did some activities without having any credits for them, but because they were interested. So please, can you answer about this? What are the feeling of the students and what they do, how they do respond? So Grzegorz, I think
that's a crucial issue, of course, because we can lecture them, but if we're just lecturing, that's garbage in, garbage out. They must be involved, and they want to be involved. And it's also very important for us, because you're right, they are the one who has to implement the things that we're talking about now. They will be living with those consequences, right? But on the other hand, okay, I'll talk for myself, right? I think that I'm not qualified in a way for what's going on. Students already know much more about the current world. They have more tools to deal with it. Without involving them, I cannot really do much. Well, I can lecture, right? but that's their future, that the world they are building, and we have to make them involved. But they want to be there, right? Whenever we allow them to participate as partners, whenever we allow them to co-create something, to be active, show their solutions, their opinions, they are very enthusiastic about it. And that's the way to go. Not just telling them, okay, do exercises from 1 to 10 on page this and this, and then pass the exam, right? So that's what we are trying to do. Sure, we do still have courses when we are teaching in this way, basically all the basic theory, right? There are alternatives, but that's the simplest way to teach them. But on more advanced levels, we have to make them involved. Case studies, exercises, challenges to solve, their own mini research or huge research in some cases, right? And some prizes, like not monetary prize, but like in our health challenge, to have an opportunity to implement their idea in the real life, to see that it will make a difference, impact part of the city. That's great. And they see the sense in what they are doing. So I think that's the way. Unfortunately, we cannot apply this to all the courses we are teaching, right? And to all our activities.
Well, I agree. It was a very emotional speech right now. Actually, I think, don't you think also that this vision that you are giving us, it was your personal opinion, but it's being developed in these alliances, and this strength of multinational and multi-campus, I think it's giving us not only the students, but don't you think that also, and maybe I would just ask Stinne to answer this, don't you think that also this power, this strength that we are giving to the students, that we are asking actually to help us, are also changing and making the faculty feeling, also better off? What do you think about this relationship?
No, for sure. I think, and that's why I think we try to talk about co-creation and partnership. And I think that is really a reframe we really need to consider within the universities and higher education, that even if we want to co-create with them, there is still often a hierarchy. There is still the professor and the students. And I think we need to remember and to realize that it takes some time. We can invite the students in, but we need to shift that mindset a little bit, that they are still used to, there is the answer, there's a right and wrong, there is a person with more authority than them. So we need to work on sort of showing them and building that trust with them, that we actually want to hear what you have to say, and we actually want to learn from you as well and hear your opinions. And there are things that you know that we don't know. And I think that is exactly, I think we would be much better off, all of us, if we can create that kind of culture and environment. But I think it does take time. And I think that as staff, at least, and I'm sure it must be the same for faculty also, I think we need to realize that it will take time. And there is a trust that needs to be built for students to feel that they are actually listened to, and we actually want to hear their point of view, and that we actually see them as equals. And of course, I know that cannot be possible in every situation, but I think we have a lot of work to do, at least looking at my own work and my own university and our own alliance to show them that this is real, and this is not just, I think we talk about greenwashing. I think a lot of students feel that we also, sort of inclusive washing or student participation washing, and they just feel like it's a showcase. It's not real, it's for show. So I think there are definitely challenges, but there's so many opportunities that I feel that we can't afford to miss out on as well.
But this kind of exchange also is so important. Please, Professor Kellermayer, Miklós, what you raise your hand. I can see.
May I respond to this very important topic that you mentioned, the new type of drawing in students and the new way of teaching them. Let me tell you a few things. The reason I want to mention these is because I was involved, I was spearheading what we call a medical curriculum reform, exactly along these lines, recognizing the need for novelties, novel approaches. First of all, I think the roles must not be confused. As I agree with Stinne, the teachers are still teachers and the students are students. So, but having said that, there are a few things. The new way of teaching and what we have pronounced in this curriculum reform was the following. First of all, we want to train them for a profession, okay? So, which is a long-reaching objective. We need to attach skills to that. So not only just memorization issues, data memorization. Now, we also need to, among the skill, the prime skill is being able to think, the ability of independent thinking, very important. Then the realization that a doctor, what makes a doctor is not that he or she can, he can give an injection, but is the decision making. So decision making, the ability to make and take responsibility for the decisions. Then finally, the ability to differentiate in life, and then retain a motivation for lifelong, learning, which is very important because often during the burnout syndrome and such things often inhibit this. So this is the teaching approach, how we newly approach our students. But there is another thing which I want to mention, and this is again what we practice at Semmelweis, owing to the large number of international students as well, is the involvement and the multi-level involvement of students in on-campus activities. The first one is scientific research. We are drawing students, even undergraduate students, into joining their own, joining research groups and being able to develop their own skills in research and possess their own research results, which is very important in their mental development as well. Second thing, involve students in decision-making. And this is something really what we find through UniWell is rather unique. At Semmelweis University, we have, believe it or not, our faculty chamber and the Senate and all our committees have 25% student representation. So 1/4 of all our decision-making bodies are filled up by students. So students have their say. They can communicate articulate their opinion and have their voice heard. And finally, the extracurricular activities. So a whole array of involvement in extracurricular activities, which actually help build the local society and local cultural. So it's a sense of cultural development. So the two keywords are, innovative teaching and the approach to training. And the second thing is student involvement. So these are what we think are key elements of how to turn in a new way, in a positive and forward-looking way to our students. Thank you.
Yeah, well, this is very interesting. In fact, that what you are saying, involving from even the curriculum point of view, these decision-making skills that for doctors, of course, is essential for medical doctors, but for any profession actually. So for society, for any role in society. So I don't know. I don't know whether I can see questions, but also I can see that the speakers have put some links and information that you can, and I assume that all the participants today are open to receive questions afterwards, or to really exchange with whatever questions or further information the participants want to make. What I think, I don't know whether I have technical problems to see, but if you wish, otherwise, really, I think that we have reached the point in that we can wrap up a bit I can't see. Sorry. So let's wrap up a bit. I mean, if you want to add any sort of headline or big thought that has arisen from this conversation, please do so. Stinne, Constantinos, actually, I'm going to start by the end. So, Constantinos, what can you tell us about the main thought that this session has risen to you?
Well, the main concept was well-being, and if we are to concentrate on this very question, which is a very essential one, we cannot distance this concept from what we've been through the past 2.5 years, which is the pandemic. I guess it's a common experience that the pandemic impacted every one of us, and it impacted every one of our activities, including education, medical care, every single thing you can think about. Not only impacted it negatively, but in a way, even though it may sound oxymoron, as we say in Greek, it impacted it in a positive manner as well. How so? Well, we learned to communicate in different ways, and we learned to address problems that we did not have before, but we are definitely going to have them in the future. So one expects and anticipates that we are going to be more prepared to face these challenges as they come again in the hopefully distant future, but you never know. In fact, we have not been, in fact, we have not been rid of the pandemic yet. The numbers are going down, the hospitalizations and the severe cases are going down, but I don't think we've been rid of the pandemic. It's going to come back. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So we have to concentrate on maximizing the ways of working under these difficult circumstances that keep us apart to the extent that they keep us apart. You know, we really managed to do well, but no matter what, I don't know what your opinion is, but my opinion is that no matter how well we do the distant learning, it's not the same. It's just not the same. Not the same for me, not the same for the students. So we have to do our best to maximize the benefit out of these kind of experiences, and hope that we will not have again this drastic situations we had to go through as this pandemic, which was new to every one of us.
Yeah,
that's all I have.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Constantinos. Stinne, what is your headline?
Yes, I think I agree with of course, the theme is well-being of this whole conference and also of this panel. But I think what I really took away, and also considering the much more sort of health-focused speeches of the others, which is very interesting and informative for me, is this kind of holistic approach to universities, but also to our students and our communities that we operate in. Like, I think we have a tendency often to, as I also mentioned, the students, the staff, anyone working at the university walks into the university and they're reduced to their position of professor or student, and they're still full human beings with whatever struggles and identities they bring in. And I think really remembering and thinking about that when we deal with especially students, that they, especially through a pandemic, that they have been through so much also outside of our classrooms, outside of our campuses, that we need to take into consideration. That we really want to create the university of the future and to create better and healthier communities, we need to have a much more comprehensive approach to everyone in our universities, I think, and see them as full human beings, and not only as whatever title they happen to have in that context. So I think that's one of my main takeaways from this.
Indeed, I think that this idea of well-being and European universities has given us back this sense of community, which I think is very interesting. I don't know, thank you very much, Stinne. I don't know, Gregor, you want to add some words?
I don't think we have much time.
No, we don't have much
time. For sure, the sense of community of 4 EU, of all these university alliances is really very important. Because yes, we went apart, right? In a way, pandemics put us back together because of online communication. Suddenly, everything started to become so close. Right? Mm-hmm. That's a good thing, but I don't want pandemics to return.
No, please. Let's hope that we don't know in our lifetime and not our students' lifetime, which is the most important. So we reached the end, but Professor Kellermayer, I give you the last words. Thank you very much for everybody for this participation. It's been very, very interesting and very inspiring for all of us. Please, Miklós, if you close the session.
Well, I want to appreciate, my appreciation goes to Carmela and to all of you for this wonderful session. If I may add, just as a final conceptual thoughts, well-being. In my view, well-being is more mental than physical. We should appreciate that everyone, our students, faculty, and staff are talented. I think well-being is somehow related to the ability to bring out all the talents. And within that, curiosity, particularly now as educational institutions, fuel curiosity, because I think that will generate a resourcefulness which will be of help in whatever pandemic situation we might fall into. So with that, thank you very much. And once again, I appreciate Carmela. If you want to say a few final words, saying bye or farewell.
Yes, thank you and bye, and see you some other time, all of you. Thank you very much indeed. Yes. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Adios. Hasta pronto. Bye.
Bye.